right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. I'm going to cover three today. We're going to look at SoundHound, SOFI, and NNE. And really, all three of them look so good here, all right? So, SoundHound, I think I covered this either beginning of the week or end of last week. And today finally did the job, all right? The thing is, we can't get too excited about a single candle, all right? Clearly, several candles are over all the moving averages, and we've actually been over that line for a few, but I need just a little bit more to call it confirmation. But man, I am really liking what's going on here, all right? SoFi I've been covering on the YouTube lives if you've been watching it. This really did the job, and the job was off of the weekly chart, and it was coming to the brand new 200 moving average form. So I'm telling you, I love these moving averages so much. It helps me guess, and I can't stress the word guess, right? Like, I got no crystal ball here, but I see a brand new line. I see an important line right there. I'm going to guess we're going to go from down here to up here, and lo and behold, that's where it did, right? So loving what SoFi did. And then NNE. Look, there was an article that said this is a shady company, for lack of words, all right? They were basically saying a whole mess of bad stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not here to disagree with it. For all I know, it's probably actually true, right? But I don't care. I'm not here like investing, right? I'm here trading. I'm here as long as the lines tell me it's okay. I'm okay with it, right? When I say I live and die by these lines, like that's what that means, all right? So believe me, I probably more believe than less believe that article, but oh, I believe in these lines to say the least, and I'm loving what the lines are telling me. You know what I mean? So 1, 2, 3 on the board, and really 1, 2, 3 looking real good. Just in case I forget to say it, look, NASDAQ, oh, not QQA, QQQ. NASDAQ still looking okay. All right, we had a little bit of an interesting Thursday. I talked about that on YouTube Live yesterday. Today wasn't the best of candles, but hey, it's a decent doji. It's over the 8 MA, and actually we're over 50% candle. We're probably, we probably regained 66% of that, right? And when I look at QQQ, I know it's identical to NASDAQ, right? NASDAQ, same thing, still a doji, but this probably even recovered more, right? So NASDAQ looks good, QQQ looks good, SP 500 still looks okay. Again, same thing, we regained a bunch, decent doji over the lines, like S&P looks good, NASDAQ looks good. To me, that says it should be okay to trade tech until the lines tell us otherwise, right? So excited to go over all this and more, to say the least. But before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There's one right there, and I know is there another? There it is. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So let's get into SoundHound, and my goodness, there's a lot to like in SoundHound, all right? There's still a couple of things more that I need, and I'll go over that shortly, but oh man, at the bare minimum, you hear me say this often, I wake up on Friday expecting to see red candles. I really do. I always assume Friday's gonna be a loser day. People taking longer weekends, the bigger funds not really moving things, blah, 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 right? When I see a good, strong, big green candle, I know 5% doesn't seem like a lot. That's a nice big candle right there. And when I see that, especially on a Friday, oh, that makes me a little extra excited. It actually really does, okay? What do I need more? And I mentioned in the beginning, look, I realize we have 7 candles above all 5 moving averages. I realize we have the last 4 above not only all 5, but also our 521 line, right? None of these are confirmation. This is a real good candle. That's not good enough. Now, this to this, some people could have argued this was the confirmation, all right? I don't know if I believe it, and hey, I'll be real honest with you. I'm not entirely sure what I said on the last video. I look at so many things, but yeah, I would not call this confirmation just yet. These two for sure are not. Red don't count, red don't count. This is a good one. I want Monday to confirm, all right? The one thing I know I talked about was getting over, get out of here, where was it? Was it this? Nope, that's way too high. Was it this? It might have been this. I think it was this. So this candle right here, you could, sorry, I moved it. This candle right here on May 20th, you can see the close of the day, the number on top is 548. Today, regular hours, we closed a couple pennies above that, right? So I like that we're above this. I love in this zoomed in view that we're actually in this candle. Look, as I click here, we're now in this green, 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 red, 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 nothing, 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 right? This is starting to make me excited about this channel. Fast up, fast down, fast up, fast down, all the way through, right? So I'm really liking where this ended. Again, I wish there was a little confirmation. The one thing I see it, right? 78's a little bit of a high RSI. Obviously, we were a lot higher. We were living at the 90. I mean, I wouldn't say living. We peaked at a 90 only a couple months ago. So, hey, maybe we can go a little higher. But I think the fact that none of this is confirmation and the 78 is here, I think what might happen is we're going to go up, we're going to come down, and then we're going to take off, all right? And what do I mean by that? Look, this 520 line has been a really difficult line. I'm pretty sure we've been talking about that line since May, all right? And it's a resistance, it's a resistance, it's a resistance. It's a resistance we get over, but we quickly fail, and resistance, 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 resistance. Like literally for most of the year, we've been under 521. This has been a monster. I always say it. I respect these 5 lines because they're computer generated and they're accurate to so many more decimals. I'm just a dude clicking, you know what I mean? But this has established itself as a really good line, okay? When you have resistance, 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 one thing that happens is you get over it, you come back down to it, just like we did here. You come over it, you come back down to it, but you use it as a support and bounce up. That's what I want to see here. Go up, come down, use the line as a friendly line and take off. You know, the one thing that I also see is the 8 moving average is starting to go up, 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 and a little more exponentially up. We might not even have to come back down to the line itself because the 8 will golden cross it, and basically we'd never go lower than the 8, right? That'd be another thing I love. But I would actually be okay going up, coming back down, and instead of quickly losing it and then resistance for another 2 months plus, we go boom and then boom. Right? That would make me, when a line goes from this impossibility to a friend, that's literally what we do with the 8 moving average, right? Like just look at SoundHound. Don't forget where this thing was when it first started. There was a lot of people hating on this stock. Why? All it could do is stay under the 8 and the 20, just never getting over the 8 and the 20 for literally all of the entire IPO year, right? So there are moments where lines are just this ridiculous resistance that's nothing. And then all of a sudden, and hey, obviously you lose it and you come back, and you lose it and you come back, and you get it, right? They become your friend, and they change the course of a stock, right? That 521 line, I think, is hopefully what we're doing. Look, I like this MACD. That is a positive MACD, green over red. I don't mind the RSI. Obviously, I like green over red, and that's actually a good divergence. That's actually a divergence that's kind of telling me, hey, green wants to keep going up while red stays down, right? 78, I always have to kind of ring the caution bell around 80 because that's how the RSI works. It's supposed to get to 80 and then come back down, then go back up, then come back down, keep it healthy, right? But I like all this. Look at the volume too, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 days. Over the last 7 days, 5 of the 7 have been good volume days, and 4 of the 7 have been nicely over the 50-day average. Those are really, really good numbers over a 7-day. And hey, that's what that uptrend is saying, right? Like things are starting to feel a little sustained here, right? The last thing, and I say it all the time, I don't like horizontal stocks. Horizontal, just put it in the bank, right? Like you're gonna get less gray hairs and stress. SoundHound staying horizontal is a little bit of strength. This should be a parabolic up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Instead, we've stayed horizontal for months until it was ready to go on up, all right? I'll quickly flash NVIDIA as well. NVIDIA is trying to break my golden line, all right? Clearly, this is not all-time highs. We've been higher. You can see that there were points up there. Make me believe NVIDIA has broken my golden line. Oh, that's going to do nothing but good things for SoundHound. You know what I mean? So I'm liking the daily. I'm liking the weekly. Look, I talked about this on the last video. I am not smart enough to understand the math. I don't know what RSI 14 needs to make the next dot, right? But something happens with the computers and I just listen to the lines, right? I have no idea why price is actually kind of going up, why the MACD is kind of going up, why the volume's even going up, right? And all of a sudden this bad boy's coming down. I have no idea. Believe me, I like this up here. I am okay with this. I'm assuming that the green's going to keep going up and it's at least a positive number. Volume's not beautiful, but hopefully it's getting better. This is just one of the four things on the page right now, right? So I'm kind of ignoring this to tell you the truth, all right? I think I'm happy enough with everything else that just give me a little bit more, all right? This is a big line for next week. It's basically the top of this and the bottom of this. I'm okay with just that. 586, all right? $5.86 is what we want SoundHound to close on by next Friday. If that happens, oof, it might be a quick run to 780 the week after that, all right? So I'm liking the indices. I'm liking SoundHound. I'm getting a little happier with NVIDIA. Those are all good things, right? So I'm liking the setup here. Give me a little bit of news and that'd be a beautiful thing. Hey, I don't know if earnings are soon or not. If you have any insight on earnings, that'd be appreciated. I feel like I haven't talked about earnings in a while and that makes me feel like it's maybe coming up. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into SoFi. And oh my goodness, SoFi has really turned it around, all right? And to me, the entire story of the turnaround is the 50 moving average, all right? So real quick, if you can please subscribe, if you can share this video, it does wonders, all right? So zooming out. We're coming to the beginning of the year, all right? So this is January 24 all the way through today in October. There was, and you can see, a quick fall below this 50 moving average. That's the red line right there. So you can basically say, obviously we start the year up here above all five. Very quickly we fall under the red line, okay? This was the first earnings right here. We nicely gap up. We obviously couldn't confirm. And then basically we just start living under this red line. And I was making video after video after video after video saying, I don't think we're ready. I don't think we're ready. I don't think we're ready. This July 23rd moment, and there was a video on this doji. I remember this doji like it was yesterday. There was a video on this July 7th doji, and it felt like the 50 moving average was about to change. This August drop right there, that was nothing more than the indices. S&P 500 did it. NASDAQ did it. It's just easier to look. QQQ, boom. Those 3 days. So SoFi did nothing more than just follow. That's why it fell. But this was the moment the 50 felt like our friend. As the market recovered, SoFi did as well. And all of a sudden, and I just said it on SoundHound, I don't know if you watched it or not, but look, when a line goes from crazy resistance over 1, 2, 3, 4 months to all of a sudden you use it as a support right here, boom, take off and go, right? Obviously from there we break all five and fly, and it was a combination of other things, right? But oh man, that's what going from a resistance to a support looks like. To me, SoFi's entire year movement was dictated by this red line. Okay, I love technical analysis. I do, believe me. I'm sure there are so many other viewpoints, and it's easy to say I'm wrong. And hey, I'd love to hear it if you have a better view, right? Like I might learn something good. But to me, in this 1 year so far view, 10-month view, whatever you want to call it, it's been all about the red line. And that 50 moving average is the first of the three tough ones for a reason. You know what I mean? So in the immediate, I'm loving SoFi, and in the immediate, it's the weekly chart that I used more. Okay, I normally don't use. Okay, let me say that differently. I don't know how to say this. I'm gonna skip it. I wanted to say some stuff, but like I think I'm gonna go down a different rabbit hole. I'm already at 15 minutes. Look, I use the daily to help me assume what the next day is going to be, right? You got to use the daily for the daily movements. This weekly with the brand new, right? Like SoFi is not that old a stock. In fact, it's only been around for just over 200 weeks because it took 200 week closes to get the average of the last 200 weeks, right? So this has been this candle right here, the first one that had this is the 201st week, right? That's the Monday of the first one after 200, right? So this thing's just been around for 204 weeks, okay? And it felt like once we escaped these, all of a sudden the next place we were going to go and there was nowhere else to go was up here. All right. And again, you know my channels. I love my channels. Red, 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 green, 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 red. Like all I'm looking for are these fast up and downs. I use the lines and man, they just destroyed the lines pretty well. Right. It's a lovely thing. It really is. Like there was a nice couple dojis right there. We then do this. We gap up over that. Like it brings a smile to my face to see this. Right. It actually feels like there might be more here. All right. The one just I don't know is look, 72 on the weekly plus 81 on the daily RSI is a little high. I'm generally a little more comfortable when like the daily is close to 80 and maybe the weekly is a little closer to 60, right? But that's still a little high. But what I would love to do, and again, it's the same thing I just said with SoundHound, get me over the line, close, get me back down to the line, close, and then take off in 3 weeks, right? I need two more candles. It takes a full week to do it, right? So I want the next one to go up. I'm okay with the one after that to come down. From there, use this as a support and take off. I would love that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I think that also kind of makes sense on the daily because look, we've been up to like a little bit higher of an 80. We've been to a little it's only at 80 actually. What was this one right here? This one was 86. Like we've been just a little higher. I'm hoping we can still go up a little bit, come back down, never really lose this line, right? Hopefully this 1020 becomes a nice support for us and then just take off from the reset, right? Like I need this 81 to come down a little bit, right? That's why if we can go up nicely, come back down, that'll take us from an 80 to a 60 to a takeoff, right? So hopefully that's making sense as I'm saying it. But overall, I'm liking SoFi a lot. It's really been doing the job. It has broken all five and flown. It did use this 50 moving average as a pivot point and take off from there, right? It did get to the last moving average on the weekly, right? Asking for more is a little difficult, but man, look at this channel. IPO green, 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 red, 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 nothing, 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 right? So this could move to 1220 pretty quickly, right? I think it's man, I'm there's a lot to like here. I'm gonna say it one more time. Last thing. Look at this daily candle. Look at the daily candle. Look at the box over there. The high of the day was $10.18. The close of the day was $10.18. I always assume Friday's a loser day. This was a close at the high candle. That's love. People were buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying. And then the market said, you know what? Leave, get out of here. Come back Monday if you want more. All right. It's not much. And you know, I don't care much about after hours, but yeah, they're still buying more after hours. That's a nice thing to see. Right. So A lot to like on SoFi. And again, I've said it a couple times. I like the S&P 500. I like the NASDAQ. That makes me feel comfortable trading SoFi. I also like the Dow Jones. You know what? I haven't flashed it here, but look, SoFi is a little bit of a bank, just a straight like brick and mortar bank. And hey, Dow Jones is looking good as well. So SoFi is sitting in a pretty comfy place right now. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much. Let's take a look at NNE. I am not a fan of letting people know where my money's at. Okay, the last thing I want people to do is say, "Oh man, that chart reader dude has his money there. I probably should too." Believe me, I get more things wrong than I do right. Okay, if that wasn't the case, I'd be living next to celebrities up on the hills. You know what I mean? I've been talking about NNE for a while. Um, I had a I had a really tough time in the beginning of October. I kind of put that in the YouTube comment, right? Like it's been a little rough for me. I felt like holding NNE even though I wasn't trading. There's no swinging for me, right? And without swinging, I needed to hold something that I was comfortable with. NNE was that. And you can see I posted this. Give me a sec. Oh, I didn't mean to jump, but whatever. All early October. Since early October, where is it? This one's October. No, I think I liked it. I might have even liked it around September. Regardless, okay. Since this right here, let's even use early October. I actually really like this October 1st candle. Okay, October 1st puts us over four moving average. There is no fifth moving average. This blue 100 moving average just formed. We're nowhere near to like look how long it took before we got another 50 days and we finally went from the 50 to the 100. All that was just 50. I need what looks like more than 150 days till I get the no, that was dumb. Wait, yeah, I need another 150 days till I'm at 200. No, that was dumb. That was dumb. That was dumb because this is the 100th day. I would need 100 more days from here. We've probably only done like 15. I probably need like another 80 days. Let's just round there. That was such horrible math, right? So, point of all that was I know the 200 moving average is not going to form anytime soon. This candle right here started to make me believe that we've broken all the moving averages, okay? Also, look, we'd started to seemingly ride the 8 moving average up until this first point, right? But none of these were really good confirmations. That's a good candle, that's not confirmation. That's a good candle, that's a red, doesn't count. That's a good candle, that's a doji, don't count. That's a good candle, that don't count, right? This was an interesting doji to me. This is a textbook doji. Look in the box over there. We open and close about a penny or two away. We have almost equal wicks up and down. There is little to like that is a doji as textbook as it gets. That was a good candle. That was a real good candle after that doji. And that's where I started to believe I don't think we're going to lose these lines. We slip under the 8, but again, 8 into 20 work together, and that's what this looks like. And all of a sudden, we're still holding it. Again, we still haven't confirmed that's a good candle. That don't count. None of these are good, right? So there's still a little bit of confirmation missing here, but we're over all the moving averages on the daily. We're over, there's only two of them. We're over all the moving averages on the weekly. We're a long ways away before that 50 moving. Look at, again, on the daily, we needed all of those days before we got the 50, right? We're gonna need so many more weeks before we get to the 50, right? So there's only two. This thing is incredibly bullish over 15 bucks. Really, I would call the death line 1660. As long as this thing's over 1660, that's a good thing. What I'm really liking are these channels. Sorry, I zoomed out for no reason. Green, 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 red, 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 pretty much nothing, 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 right? This is 50% of the biggest candle, right? We're nicely over that. We're nicely over that. That was actually the open of the day today. Green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 nothing, 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 right? Like it's starting to smell like a real good shot at maybe 24, right? Basically the top of this and the bottom of that. I even think we smash 24 and make an attempt at 29. I like this RSI. That's a low 62 RSI. That is green over red, and you can barely see it, but if I click over there, RSI is at 62, red things at 51, green over red, green over red. And hey, look, obviously volume's going down over the last 3 days, but since, let's stick with this October candle. Since this October 1st, I'm at least seeing that still, right? Like it obviously was coming down, but hey, now it's actually kind of going back, right? So there's a couple different ways to look at volume, but oh man, this thing is just a little bit more away. There was a lot going on today. This thing was pushing, I think, 20+% at some point during the day. The two news things to talk about, I mentioned the bad one. Some short sellers said that this company is fake, is basically what the article was. They basically said the entire thing's a sham. It's some Chinese company that's basically nothing more than offices and a dream, okay? I'm not here disagreeing with it. I'm not here agreeing with it. I'm here saying I don't care about that stuff, right? Like they probably did some good research for all I know, but I'm here looking at the technicals and ignoring the rest, okay? The other headline, and I believe there were actually two headlines that said this. There is now there's a bigger need for nuclear power, all right? All these data centers, all this storage of online clouds and online AI, and like the smarter the supercomputers get, the more you need, right? We need nuclear fusion and nuclear power and nuclear stuff to power all that. I said that really dumb, but you know what I'm saying, right? NNE really has no significant contracts. NNE is not powering Amazon, is not powering Google. But there were some headlines that said Amazon needs nuclear. Google needs nuclear power. They're investing and they're looking for nuclear solutions. And hey, I'm here riding the nuclear wave until it crashes. You know what I mean? And that basically to me means losing lines, right? So the news so far has been better than worse. And obviously that short seller is probably losing right now because this thing's been going up since I saw that article. But yeah, I'm not here to ignore bad news, right? I'm not. That'd be the dumbest. Like the last thing you want to do is be a fanboy and only look at good stuff, right? I'm not pretending that didn't come out, but I think right now the push for nuclear, and more than anything, this relatively sustained uptrend of the 8 and the 20, despite the fact that there's no confirmation, and all the while holding that positive MACD and staying relatively healthy with the RSI, those are good things, right? Weekly's over. That's a real interesting doji. It actually looks like RSI might flip too. That actually hasn't happened since the red line formed, right? Like like the week before, this week right here, there is no red line in the RSI box. This is the first one. RSI is at 54. Since the RSI formed on the weekly, sorry, I don't know why I put here, right here, on the weekly, the red line's been over. We might be near the first time it crosses. And again, good crosses are good crosses up here or down here, right? So I'm liking it. I am. This was also the last thing, the second biggest week of volume. This was a 35 million week. Oh wow, hold on. This was 35.6 million. This was 35.5 million. This was the biggest week of volume. That's not a bad way to end the week. You know what I mean? So, yeah, not that bad. We're a little over 28 minutes. I like all three. I really do. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, oh, I appreciate you so, so much.